you everyone for joining our call today. This virtual seminar series hosted by the American Journal of Surgery STARS Committee, which is a group of medical students and residents that are, really our goal and our mission is making academic surgery more accessible. This virtual seminar series is entitled The Roses and Thorns of Academic Surgery. And I'll let Charna talk more about what this series will entail.
Hi, everyone. My name is Charna Kennard. I am a preliminary intern at the University of Wisconsin-Madison for general surgery. I'm also the AJS STARS Committee Programming Co-Chair along with Mario. And we wanted to do this series titled Roses and Thorns because for academic medicine, we always know that research is so important and heavily emphasized. It's pretty much how you define an academic surgeon. And we see the roses all the time in the publications, in the conference presentations. But what about the thorns? What about that journey and narrative to getting to the roses? And, just that journey of resilience. We hear about resilience so much in surgical training, but as far as research, I feel that it's not applied as heavily. And I truly believe to achieve your research goals, you have to have that resilience applied to research as well. So we wanted to do this series where we can highlight and gain the narratives of just academic surgeons that are leading their field, and also to give them their roses for being such a role model to up and coming academic surgeons. So I'm very happy that we are able to start this inaugural webinar series with Dr. Herbert Chen, and I will let Wendy take it over from there.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Wendy Oslock, and I'm a general surgery resident at UAB and one of the co-chairs for AJS STARS Committee. It is my sincere pleasure and honor to get to introduce our first Roses and Thorns of Academic Surgery virtual seminar series faculty member, Dr. Herbert Chen. Dr. Herbert Chen is originally from Wisconsin. He went to Stanford University for undergrad, Duke for med school, and then completed his training at Johns Hopkins for general surgery before surgical oncology and endocrine fellowship. He is now the chair of the Department of Surgery, as well as the Senior Associate Dean for Academic Affairs at the University of Alabama in the School of Medicine. He has held multiple national leadership positions, including serving as president of the Society of Asian Academic Surgeons Foundation, president of the Association of Academic Surgery, president of the Society of Clinical Surgery, president of the American Association of Endocrine Surgery, and president of Surgical Biology Club 2. He is a prolific researcher with over 650 published articles and currently serves as the editor-in-chief of the American Journal of Surgery. For those who have had the pleasure to know him, learn from him, or work from him, you know he is a passionate mentor and a champion for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so with that, it is my sincere pleasure to hand it over to Dr. Chen.
Well, thanks, Wendy, for the great introduction. It's great to be here, and it's great to see the great work that the AJS STARS Committee is doing, and this is just one example of it. So I think we have a mix of residents and students, right? Is that on the talk today? So I'll share with you a version that I normally give our medical students that tells a little bit about me and why I became an academic surgeon, and I'll probably tell a few stories as I present it. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can you see that okay? Yeah, okay. So my talk is entitled Why Be an Academic Surgeon? Okay, so a lot of people ask the question, why did you become a surgeon? And so my answer, and I think a common answer of when you ask people why they want to do surgery, is that you can have a big impact in the lives of the patients that you meet. So we're in a specialty that someone can come in and it can be the worst day of their life, and with one operation you can change it and make them better. And there's probably no, there's no job that you can make that immediate of an impact, I think, on patients and being a surgeon. And obviously, as a surgeon, one of the funnest things we do is operate. And, I love to be in the operating room because every time you do an operation for a patient, that patient is very grateful, their family is very grateful, and you get, immediate satisfaction. And what really is great also about being a surgeon itself is you get emails from all over the place. These are just a series of emails I've gotten from all over the country, all over the world, of patients, who I've had the honor of treating, or patients who come because they want to get better, and you have the ability to do that for them. So that's what I really love about my job as a surgeon. And, as a surgeon, I'm an endocrine surgeon, for those of you who don't know. So I take care of patients with thyroid, parathyroid, and adrenal disease. And so this is just a patient that I took care of who has this adrenal tumor here, seen on the CT scan, which was a pheochromocytoma. So someone who has quite symptomatic that we can fix with an operation. Now I'll spare you. I normally have this video that I share, but I won't play that video today because a lot of the residents on this call would have seen a laparoscopic adrenalectomy, which is such a cool operation. But I think that it's not unusual for surgeons to get. I get a lot of cards. I get a lot of emails. Some patients post their stuff on social media. So I just show this to you. This is all available publicly, so I'm not disclosing anything that they haven't already posted. But basically, you can make a huge difference in patients' lives, and they're so grateful and so thankful. And so this brings an incredible amount of satisfaction, and it's so fulfilling. So now I've said why you should become a surgeon. But so why become an academic surgeon? And so as an academic surgeon, as I've just stated, you can have a big impact in the lives of patients that you meet every day. But actually, as an academic surgeon, you can have a big impact in the lives of patients that you will never meet. Because as an academic surgeon, not only do you operate, but you can impact lives by doing the research, discovering something that cures disease that's utilized someplace else in the world. You can make an operation better that other surgeons can do. You can train the next generation of surgeons who then have a huge impact in those patients. And so you can lead departments, hospitals, health systems, and better care for people. So as a surgeon, as an academic surgeon, you have this great capacity to do all these things. So a little bit about me that Wendy stated. So I went to Stanford as an undergraduate after growing up in Wisconsin. And I did research and I studied DNA polymerase. And I have to be honest, I didn't really like it. But it was something that everyone sort of had to do or were told to do. If they wanted to get in medical school, you had to do research. So I did it. But, and this is a picture of the lab I was in, and I had great, mentors who tried to convince me I should be an MD, PhD, do science, but, I wasn't convinced. I love my time at Stanford, but whereas other undergraduates would spend all their free time in the lab, I tried to spend the minimal amount of time I could to get my thesis. So then I went to Duke for medical school. And at Duke, what's so interesting about the program at Duke is that you do you're 2 years clinical, but that's moved up. You do 1 year basic science instead of 2, and you have a year that everyone does research. So I worked with this surgeon, Kim Lyerly, who at the time was a brand new surgeon on the faculty, a surgical oncologist, who was studying HIV. And so I did great work with him, really interesting on learning about retroviruses. But I learned a lot of impact of what research could do, for how it related to patients. And so at that time, I sort of decided, well, I think, I'm interested in science again. And maybe I would be a surgeon scientist. But I decided I wanted to be a surgical oncologist after working with him. My PowerPoint is frozen here. So hopefully it will come back here in a second. But as it boots, and I think that I encourage medical students to pursue research just to learn about it, to see if it's something that they would enjoy. And I have to say that the year I spent doing research really solidified why I wanted to be an academic surgeon, because I could see a lot of contributions that the surgeons were making. And I'll never forget what Dr. Lyerly said to me when I decided to become a surgeon, is that he said, being a surgeon isn't necessarily about the cutting. Being a surgeon is just finding a way to get things done, to solve problems and stuff. And so I really took that to heart, thinking that this was going to be, choosing life as a surgeon was really choosing a way of thinking. Because as, some of the surgical residents who are on the call know, is that as surgeons, we see problems every day. And like dealing with a patient who's level 1 trauma that comes in, is that we as surgeons have to make split-second decisions that are potentially life-saving, and that in doing so, it doesn't necessarily require surgery, but it makes some clinical judgment or some clinical application. So, oh, good, it stopped. All right. So after Duke, I decided to go into surgery, and I did my surgical training at Johns Hopkins. And I chose Hopkins because they had at that time fast track in surgical oncology. They don't have that anymore. But you could sign up to be a surgical oncologist. You did your residency and fellowship there. And as part of that, you did a 3-year research fellowship. So when I was at Hopkins, they talked to me about doing research. And of course, I was doing research, and they asked me what I wanted to do it in. And then I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do research in. And then when the faculty said, you should do research on medullary thyroid cancer with Steve Balin. This is Steve Balin. He was an endocrine oncologist. And at the time, Steve Balin was in the hunt to discover the gene that caused multiple endocrine neoplasia type 2, or MEN2. And he said, Herb, if you come into my lab, you will help me discover this gene. You'll be famous. And I said, wow, that's fantastic. That's a great, I'm all in for doing that. So I decided a year in advance to do that. And of course, 6 months later, the group at WashU discovered the gene that caused MEN2, the ret proto-oncogene, and published it. And so, of course, I was a little disappointed that I had lost my chance to become famous. But so I had to pick a new project. But I still studied neuroendocrine tumors, such as medullary thyroid cancer. So I think, the impact of an academic surgeon can be broad. And I think one of the most, enjoyable things of being an academic surgeon is to train the next generation of surgeons. So this is, these are some of my favorite quotes. So if you ever have a chance to visit Johns Hopkins, you'll see that everyone that graduates from the surgery program has their picture hung on the wall, which is a common thing in surgery. We do it here at UAB as well. But if my picture, I wrote this quote by William Osler, the father of medicine. No bubble is so iridescent or floats longer than that blown by the successful teacher. And I think that really the biggest contribution you can make to the world is teaching someone or training someone. So I really love teaching, and I have to say that as chair, that I can choose where to spend a lot of my time, and I do like to teach. So I like to teach our medical students. So I lecture our medical students 2 times when they come on our rotation on endocrine disease. Just a picture of me when we do that virtually now. So it's not in the classroom. This is a picture of our general surgery residency program here at UAB, of which you can find Kelsey on there and Wendy on there, this picture. And our program director is Brittany Cord. We just did a day of interviewing today for applicants. But as they'll say, I like to spend a lot of time with the residents because I really think they are the future of surgery. This is just a tweet posted by one of our past surgery residents, Shelby Bertresser, about, and this was a couple of years ago, she saw on Twitter that people were discouraging women from going into surgery. And obviously our residency program is 75% women, and we have plenty of great role models here of fantastic female surgeons as shown in this picture. So just for those of you women who are at any apprehensive about going to surgery, I think that it is the greatest field for both men and women. Okay. Okay. Oh. So boy, this is not, oh, sorry about this. This is like malfunctioning for some reason. So one of the great things I get to do with our residents is to take them wake surfing, just pictures of doing that. And a lot of team building too, helping everyone get up on wakeboard or wake surfing. But just an example of just how much fun it is to spend time with young people and train them. Jess Fasendine is our clerkship director here at UAB for the medical students. And as mentioned before, a great opportunity. I love teaching medical students. And something you can definitely be involved with. In addition to teaching students and residents, there is the great opportunity to teach the public about medicine. And so I'll just share an excerpt of, opportunities as an academic surgeon you can do. So I'm not going to watch you.
Chen, I'm professor and chairman.
Have you watched this whole video on radio-guided parathyroid surgery? But this video sits on our UAB website where lots of physicians come and watch it and stuff. So you have a great opportunity to educate other physicians as an academic surgeon on how to do surgery or the importance of surgery. You have the great opportunity to educate the public, and there's just a video of me doing so. Oops.
In our focus this week on cancer, we are talking about cancer of the thyroid. While it's relatively uncommon, accounting for about 1% of all cancers diagnosed, the incidence is increasing, especially among women. With us today, we have Dr. Herb Chen. He's Chief of Endocrine Surgery and leader of the Neuroendocrine Cancer Disease Group at the Carbone Cancer Center. Thank you so much for joining us today. Quite a mouthful. Great title. All right. So there are a number of things we're going to get.
So again, I won't make you listen to the whole video, but it's like opportunities like that to educate the public about awareness of things is great. So training the next generation of surgeons and teaching the public about disease is great. The impact of academic surgeon, you can make new discoveries through research. And I'll share with you a little video that we made talking about doing research in surgery.
UAB is probably one of the most ideal places to conduct research. There is just a highly collaborative atmosphere, and we have brilliant researchers in many, many different fields who come together as a team to solve problems. I think surgeons are some of the best individuals to conduct research. As surgeons, we recognize the limitations of the field. We understand the questions that are important to answer. And as actively engaged clinicians, we recognize the potential benefits of life-saving research. We pride ourselves in educating the future leaders in the field of surgery. And that starts by recruiting young people into the department. They provide the engine that really drives new ideas, new thoughts, and new approaches to make all these important discoveries.
So one of the things we can do as academic surgeons is we publish to change the practice of surgery. So obviously I'm going to show you an AGS paper. But I think one of the great things about, in addition to doing research that innovates, you can do clinical research or health services research, which changes the way we practice medicine. So this is an example of a series we wrote and published in AJS about doing outpatient thyroidectomy in children. It happens to be the largest series of outpatient surgery in order to try to change the field to get more people to do it, saying that it's safe and telling them how to do it. There are, as active surgeons, you can publish books too. These are a series of books that me and my colleagues have had the great pleasure of publishing about how to be successful in academic surgery, how to be successful in all the areas of academic surgery. And so obviously I don't want to push our own books for sale, but I would say that these are great references if you're interested in pursuing academic surgery in any facet of it. Of course, we're here to talk about AJS, and we really appreciate everything that the AJS STAR Committee does. But I think the coolest thing to be involved with the journal is you're helping disseminate information to surgeons and trainees and other people to guide them on how to take care of patients and to hopefully change the way and improve the way we take care of patients. And so all what we do is usually based on some clinical research and some studies. And so at AGS, we really try to get the best papers, and we try to disseminate them and get them out to people so they see what's going on. And we have a fantastic associate editors team, not shown here. These are all the surgeons who contribute and really make sure that we have the best papers in AJS. So how do you become involved in AJS? Well, first of all, you can get on the STARS committee as a student resident, but you can actually review for AJS if you want. And first of all, so Kelsey handles a lot of papers that come from the medical student committees and groups, and she can get you to review some of those papers. And then, after a period of time, you can review some of the other papers and other focus topics. And if you want to do that, that's my email. Another impact of academic surgeons, you can become a leader. And I was just telling all our applicants today, is surgeons are leaders. To do what we do, we have to lead. We lead teams in the operating room. We lead teams on rounds. We lead research teams, education teams. And so if you become a surgeon, you will have to gain leadership skills. And if you, like in our training program, we really emphasize that for both residents and also for surgeons. Faculty surgeons. These are the leaders within our department. We have 9 divisions here at UAB, and the specialties are shown up top with the division directors. And then we have currently 9 vice chairs who focus on the different missions in surgery, such as research, education, and global surgery. A great thing about being an academic surgeon, it is a great culture and it is fun. And often sometimes people are thinking, well, I'm not sure how fun it is to be a surgeon, but I can tell you it is great being a surgeon. Because in addition to all the great things you do clinically and research, we actually have fun too. And so this is us at the largest academic surgeons meeting in the world, the Academic Surgical Congress. We have a lot of our residents present, and we have a lot of medical students that present. You can see here, this is our reception there. As a surgeon, there are organizations in surgery that actually give you money to travel the world and learn about other programs in the world. So the Association for Academic Surgery, which is an organization which I think all students and residents who are interested in surgery should join, because they have roles for students and residents. But for when you're a faculty member, you can apply for these traveling fellowships that they offer to countries around the world. And many of our faculty listed here, Dan Chu, Colin Martin, and Vanessa Lindemann, have taken advantage of those traveling fellowships. In addition, there's this organization within surgery called the James IV, which sends surgeons, again, around the world to travel. And these are, usually they choose 2 surgeons to represent the United States, and I was fortunate to be selected in 2004. And I got to go to all these different places around the world to learn about how they do surgery there, and for me to speak on how we do surgery here on some of the research I've done and some of the clinical things that I've done. And also at UAB, we had the good fortune of having many of the other faculty members get these traveling fellowships to travel. And then the American College of Surgeons gives traveling fellowships as well. And the Society for Asian Academic Surgeons, another great organization to join, promotes traveling lectureships for its members, as shown here. But what's so great about doing traveling fellowships is that this is pictures of me with surgeons around the world, where I get to go in the operating room and see how they do things. I got to see their research programs, how they conduct it. And many of these surgeons are my good friends now because of the time I've spent with them. But also we collaborate a lot on research projects, and both clinical and science projects. But what was great about doing a traveling fellowship as a surgeon is that I brought my family on along with them. So how many kids that live here in the United States can say they've petted a koala, watched an Australian rugby game, went diving on the Great Barrier Reef, landed on a glacier, and got to feed and pet kangaroos? My guess, not that many. But my kids love doing this, and they still remember this. My kids are now 29 and 27 now, so they're pretty old, but they had an incredible experience traveling the world, and they got to do so because I am an academic surgeon. Surgeons have a lot of hobbies. One of mine is actually bourbon. Actually, there's a UAB Scotch and Bourbon Club here for people who are into it. UAB has its own bourbon, actually. And these are the 7 different types that we've had over the past years. So this is just an example of surgeons can have fun together around what they do and do innovative things. But I think what's so great about being surgeon, and I think about the culture of, like, at least our department here, is that as surgeons, you spend a lot of time together at work, but we also spend a lot of time with each other outside work, building teams. So as I said, I'm an endocrine surgeon. So our endocrine surgery team does a lot of stuff together. We have an annual beach trip, a ski trip. We go see musicals like Hamilton together, and we travel the world together. because we're pretty strong as a team, and we, I think, work better as a team because we do a lot of stuff together. So I have a little video that is a big plug on our culture here at UAB that I want to share.
When I talk to people about what is important to find in that first job you're looking for, to future residents or fellows looking for a place to train, they often tell me they are looking for the right culture. I think we have the best culture here at UAB Surgery. And sort of to find it, I challenged our faculty to come up with one word that really describes the culture of UAB Surgery.
Dynamic, open-minded, inclusive, momentum,
Collegial, supportive,
family,
grounded.
mission-driven.
So I just show this because I think surgeons oftentimes can get a bad rap. Is that there's these stereotypes of surgeons that exist sometimes, you know, in media, sometimes at certain places. But also for those of you who have maybe heard of those stereotypes, I want to show these are the words that people would use to describe our department and surgeons here at UAB, which I think perhaps are different than the stereotypes you might have seen before. All right, so I hope that I basically told you a little bit of why I love being a surgeon, an academic surgeon, a little bit about my journey. I'll just end with another UAB surgery video, which I made shortly after coming to UAB, just telling how we were going to be a little different than other departments, that we were going to focus on different things, and that we were going to be brand new.
I feel like for the first time in a long time, I am not afraid. I feel like never gone. It feels like this. Like when I just then you take me dancing. And you don't even think it's hard to the ground. Like I'm brand new.
Okay, so I want to thank you for listening to my talk. And, you know, I'd be glad to take any questions that you may have or anything that you may want to talk about.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chen, for that great talk on and just like really highlighting how exciting all the facets of surgery can be.